All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, we actually have hip hop royalty. We have a legendary hip hop pioneer, the very first hip hop artist out of Louisiana's Baton Rouge. We have Mr. Cotton right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I really appreciate your time as well. It's definitely an honor just to be able to interview such a legendary hip hop artist, man. You are the first individual out of your area, man. So it's definitely an honor to just to converse with you this evening.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We're doing some research on the fact that I'm probably the first rapper out the South, period. Because when I moved down here in '78, I was already rapping, me and my brothers. There wasn't nobody rapping down here in '78.
I gotta say as well, there wasn't a lot of rappers, period, in '78, man. So you might actually you might actually indeed be the very first one out of the South. I definitely believe that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But also as well, getting right into this, because I know you're a very busy individual. As we just spoke about, and the world already knows that you were the first artist out of Louisiana's Baton Rouge, or the South in general. Can you tell our listeners the story behind your humbling beginnings, and of course, what actually inspired you just to bring hip hop to your state? Sorry.
Well, what happened was when I was younger, my mama met this gentleman from down here from Baton Rouge, and they fell in love and stuff, so he moved us down here. So that's actually how rap got down here, on the strength of my mama getting married and, the gentleman bringing us down here. I started singing when I was 4 years old, so I was really a singer before I was a rapper, but I didn't really do too much of the singing, and when I came down here, I started doing the majority of the rapping. But and that's what happened back in '78. That's what it is.
And I have to ask, man, because obviously, this was really more of a in '78, this was more really just a kind of a New York type of thing. Hip-hop really didn't grow through different coasts at this time. So how did individuals really perceive your music in the late '70s, early '80s? Like, were they liking it, or were they kind of like, oh, man, like, that's not really for me?
They were amazed. They were really amazed. My brother really kicked it off. He used to be rapping on the lunch shift. When I was in freshman in high school, everybody would gather around him, around this tree, and he'd sit there and just throw some raps at him, and they was like amazed because Sugar Hill, rap wasn't down here yet. You know what I'm saying? Sugar Hill didn't get out, he come out to '79, and they didn't get down here to '79, close to '80. So, they were just amazed, man. They was amazed by that. When I think how they was amazed by his rapping, I know I could rap, but I just never jumped out there and did what he was doing because I was kind of shy. I was a baby of the bunch. Et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, man, they was amazed by it, man.
Were you surprised that they were amazed at it, judging by how hip hop back in those days was just like, was this a New York side of thing, or were you actually or did you know these individuals were gonna love what you were doing?
We didn't know. We didn't know. That's just how we rocked when we came down here. We was doing it back home. We was in a lot of talent shows and stuff back home. And that's just how everybody was doing it, where I was from. A lot of people was rapping, females, guys, everybody was doing it.
And also as well, in 1985, you were actually featured on the album Reality on the song Missing Kids. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this earlier release project. And of course, what was it like being a part of this so early on in your career?
Well, the group Reality was started by me, and we had seen a lot of missing children commercials. Well, I did, because I'm the one that came up with the idea to do the Missing Kids song, and they just tuned in and did it with me. But the Land of Child Murders was going on back then, too. So between that and the Missing Kids commercials, that's what hit me to do the Missing Kids song. We actually was in the first citywide talent show on Southern University campus in the Union Hall, and that's how we won that talent show, and that's how we got the record deal to do the Missing Kids song.
And if you don't mind me asking, how did you yourself and the rest of the members actually come together of Reality? Like, what is the story just behind that group, man?
Okay, I met this cat named Ernest Smith, and he was eventually in the group, and he did the beatbox, like the Fat Boys type of thing. And he introduced me to Sheldon Jones. I know this cat named Smooth, and he raps too. Boom, 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 boom. So I said, I'm trying to put this group together. So, you know, he introduced me to Smooth. Smooth came over to my house one day, and he started flowing and rapping. I said, yeah, I like your flow, bro. And we became the group. And that's when I came up with the name Reality. You know, and everybody liked it. They agreed to it. And that's how Reality was formed.
And I have to ask, are you guys actually still together today? Because I do know this was obviously back in the '80s. Like, how long did this group actually last for?
We split up in '86. I started the group in late '83, '84, somewhere around there, early '84, and we split up in '86 because of management things and all that type of stuff was going on. We were young, you know, we didn't really know no better. We just knew the music, you know, we didn't know the business, and it was just, you know, a lot of different things going on, and the group eventually split up in 1986. And then, you know, we just went our separate ways. But that's what it was.
And also, in the early to mid 1980s, you actually inked a record deal with Royal Shield Records. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this deal, and of course, what was it like actually being one of the very first hip hop artists signed to this particular label?
We were the first hip hop or rap to sign to that label. Like I said, we had won a talent show, the first citywide talent show, and that's how we got the record deal with that label, with Royal Shield. And it was just history from there. It was a good experience to be working with Royal Shield, and the engineer they had, he left. His name was Cecil Dukes. He eventually left and went off and became Ray Parker Jr.'s engineer back in the day. But Royal Shield was a nice experience. You know, that was the first studio we all ever been to, major studio anyway. And like I said, when we won the talent show, we won first prize, and that's how we got the record deal with Royal Shield Records.
And I gotta say as well, they actually had some phenomenal records actually come out of that little record label as well back in the day.
Yeah, you know, they were more like a blues label, gospel type label. You know, that's what they had. They had a lot of blues singers and gospel singers coming from that label.
And I have to ask as well, because obviously, like you said, there are a lot of blues and a lot of gospel singers as well. So, were they kind of like nervous signing you guys at first, or were they all for what you guys were doing? Because I do know some labels, they do sometimes try to kind of change what some artists stand for. Not all, but some of them really do try and change the artists once they're actually indeed signed.
Well, no, actually, they were just letting us be us. You know what I'm saying? They never tried to change us or none of that, man. They were just letting us be us. And they was really excited about signing us up and putting us out and everything. Because we won that talent show, man. You know, it was awesome. You know, we got a standing ovation. And it was like everybody who was somebody that came out of here really back in the day, back in that time, they were all in that talent show. So we'd be like everybody who was trying to do something down here around that time. Yeah, it was amazing, man, and they was really excited about signing us up, man.
And also, well, aside from being an artist, you were actually an A&R over at Tyme Records. I was wondering, how did that business venture actually come to be for you? And of course, what actually made you decide to work behind the scenes, of the music industry?
Well, Time Entertainment, that's my label. I'm also the CEO for that label. You know, I'm like everything right now. I'm like the jack of all trades for that label, A&R, et cetera, et cetera. I just stopped doing it for a while. I just jumped behind the scene, and I just been doing a lot of recording, you know, over the years, just recording, and stacking up. And I think when my mentor passed away, that's when I started singing because I was rapping. You know, he used to always try to get me to sing. His name was Warren Lee Daniels. He was always trying to get me to sing, and he's like, man, you can sing the blues, you got that raspy voice, and I would never do it. But because of his untimely death when he had a heart attack, the same day he passed, the same day I stopped rapping and started singing.
And I gotta say as well, you were actually a phenomenal singer at that as well. And I was, me as a fan of Mr. Cotton, I was wondering why you made that transition. And I have to say, I didn't think it would be ever be something like that. But did he actually kind of inspire you before he passed away to indeed start singing? Did he ever actually tell you have a great singing voice, you should do the transition, or was that just something you felt like you needed to do?
No, it was really, him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, because I was totally against it. Sometimes I would think a hook or two or something, but I actually get my boy Ad-Lib a lot to coming in and sing some of my hooks. And but it was really Mr. Lee, man. And then when he passed, like I said, his untimely death, that's what really inspired me to start singing. I said, you know what? I wish I'd have done it before he passed away, and that really hurt me. It really set me back. Because like even today, I said, man, I wish he could hear me singing now. He would be tripping out on me right now, but that's what it was definitely Mr. Lee. His inspiration is what allowed me to start singing.
And also as well, March 13th of January 20th of 1998. You had the opportunity to work alongside Young Bleed, where you were actually featured on his album "My Balls and My Word" on the song "There's Only One Colorone." I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this feature, and of course, what was it like just working alongside fellow Southern artist Young Bleed?
That song wasn't on that album. Okay, I'm doing separate stuff with Bleed. I got a song on his new album right now called "The Resurrection." I have produced that one. But on his first album, "My Balls and My Word" is my work. I never had any doings on that album. But that's my dog, that's my nephew, and we still got some stuff we trying to finish up. But yeah, it's always been an experience to work with nephew.
And if you don't mind me asking, how did yourself and Young Bleed actually get connected, man? Because you guys are like the dynamic duo of the South.
Bleed, I've been knowing Bleed since he was 15. Bleed heard of me because I'm the first rapper out of here. So, they already knew that when he was young. So he looked up to us. There's another cat named Greg Dukes that I put in the game. Shantae Bayhead. And who else was with us? And Bartley County, his name is Baye. They call him Jomo Jenkins. And that was and Avery Walker, he was one of the CEOs, and this guy named Inch, he was one of the CEOs. We opened up the second or the third record label down here. It was called 360. And please come out of the studio. He was a little young man. You come out of the studio, holler at us and stuff. I just didn't know one day he was gonna be doing what he was, what he did, and I was proud of him when he did it. You know what I'm saying? But Bleed to know on me, man. If you want to, I can get you an interview with him, too.
I actually had the opportunity to interview Young Bleed twice, man, and it was never a disappointment both times. Such an amazing individual.
Cool. That's what's up. You be on it, huh?
I gotta say, I definitely appreciate the offer, man. If he's up for it a third time, I definitely am not gonna turn that down. I'll tell you that for a fact. You can never go wrong with Young Bleed.
Maybe you could do something different and interview me and him at the same time.
Hey, I gotta say, I'm definitely up for that. You know what I mean? It'll definitely bring a new flavor as well. I'm definitely up for that.
Okay, I'm gonna put that together.
Sounds good, man. I know we're connected on Facebook and whatnot, so definitely, we can definitely set that up. I'm definitely up for that.
Okay, no problem. I have another artist, my boy's like a brother to me. He's here right now. He call him Ad-Lib. I would love for you to get an interview with him because he used to be the lead singer of the group called The Myth that LL Cool J used to have. That was his only group. You can Google them and they'll come up, man. They did some good things, some historical things with LL, man. It was one of the first R&B groups from out of here that I even know of that did it that big. Besides Third Avenue, now I'm remembering Third Avenue was one of the first, but they came second. He's here right now, man. You might want to get him to get contact with you on Facebook, man, and y'all can set up an interview, man.
Hey, definitely. I'm definitely up for that. I've actually heard of him as well, man, and I do know that you guys just recently dropped a song together, too, just a few weeks ago. So I do have to ask, man, if you can tell us a bit more about that song, just since we're actually on the topic of Ad-Lib. It seems like a great time just to bring up that song.
I appreciate it, man. See, it's funny about that song, too, because I've been trying to get Ad-Lib to do that song with me, and he just kept blowing me off. He just kept blowing me off, man. So eventually, I finally got him to come around, and I already knew it was going to be magic. Because I just know when me and him do certain songs, because I know his feel, he don't mind. I already knew songs be magic, man. I mean, and they loving it right now, man. He's talking about show you how to love, show you how to love. But yeah, man, yeah. So we finally got that piece to come together, man, and we just shot the video for it, so we should have it in about 2 weeks.
I gotta say as well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the music video, man, because I've been having that song actually on repeat in my car, man. It's been spinning nonstop, so I definitely need to see the music video myself.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate them kind words. And yeah, man, yeah, definitely. You'll be the first one to see it. Well, one of the first ones. I'm definitely going to send it to you, fly it to you, and tag you in it.
And also as well, speaking of videos, man, you also actually recently released the documentary of the year titled Diamonds in the Dirt that is actually streaming on Tubi, Apple, and Prime Video. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this documentary, and of course, what was it like just going back through your own history and just reliving and filming all this amazing footage?
Yeah, because I did like a almost an hour and a half to 2 hour interview with them. Well, the Diamonds in the Dirt was started with Matt Keith. He's a producer. Matt Finelli is the director, and then you got Joe Mexican, and you got Frog. They did all the video footage. Frog did the majority of the video footage, and Joe Mexican did all the editing for it. But those guys did a hell of a job, man. I commend them guys. I applaud them guys. I mean, they really did a hell of a job, man. To have something like that come out of Baton Rouge like that, man. But it brought back a lot of memories when they was interviewing me, because I was able to tell them from how it all started in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't put none of that in there. It's like they kept my story kind of short. So what I'm in the process of doing now is trying to get it together to do my own documentary so I can tell how that came down here with me and my brothers and how everything just took off from there. But it was a great experience, man, and I'm loving it, man. It's opened up some new doors for me, and and I'm just enjoying it, man. I have a lot of friends down here that I've been knowing for 20, almost 30 years, and all of them, when the documentary came out, all of them was calling me, talking, man, why you didn't tell me you was the first rapper out of Baton Rouge and all that type of stuff. So I was like, man, I just never really thought about it like that, man. It just never crossed me like that. Until the documentary came out, then it made me realize that, hey, man, I'm not just the first rapper out of Baton Rouge. I'm not just the first rapper out of Louisiana, but I'm the first rapper out of the South, period. And that's a good feeling, man. That South, that title of being the first rapper out of the South is a big title, man.
And I gotta say as well, man, I definitely agree with what you said, how your friend was like, you didn't tell me, and you're like, I didn't really think about it, because when you're in the fast lane, man, and you're grinding and putting in work, you don't really give yourself time to actually stop and kind of look around and observe the surroundings. You just drop a project, work on the next, do your next thing, work on the next. So it's just kind of like you don't really notice it until you really kind of slow down and absorb it all.
Right. And it hit me kind of quick and fast, because, when it finally dropped and I went to the first screening, man, and I said, wow, man, wow. That was my reaction, like, just, wow, man, I really am the first rapper out of here and all that. And I really never really thought about that like that until that documentary came out, to the screening. And that's when it all really hit me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not used to people calling me the legend, and if somebody called me the king, I said, there ain't but one king that I serve. So I don't really like having no title of the king, but you can call me a legend. I'll take that and run with it.
But I gotta ask as well, Cod, just before we move off the topic of this phenomenal documentary, do you know if there's any DVD or Blu-ray copies of it? Because I do know a lot of our listeners, man, would probably snag those up quicker than they can blink.
I'm not actually sure. I know it's streaming on all these different stream sites. I'm not sure if it's on Blu-ray, but, I'm going to holler at the guys and ask them if they plan on doing that. You know what I'm saying? They could probably Google it, research it, and see maybe if they got it, But other than that, that's all I can tell you right now.
And the one song that I gotta bring up, because in 2015 you actually released one of my favorite songs that you actually did within this past decade, man, and it's actually called "The Way She Worked," featuring Tyme Neal, man. I was wondering if you can actually just tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal song, and of course, what was it like just working alongside Neal for this project?
Well, nephew Neal, you know what I'm saying? He's a cool cat, man. We rocked for a while. I traveled with him, toured with him, was helping him out and stuff on with his stage crew and stuff like that. That song came about one day. I was hollering at Beef Flipper. He's also one of the producers on that project. And I was like, yo, man, I'm trying to, get the song done, holler at your boy, Tyree, and let's drop this tune. So it was really Mary's idea to come up with the song the way she worked, because he's like, you got a song, you got a title. And I was like, no. So he really came up with all that. And okay, yeah. And it was like, man, it was a hell of an experience, man. You know what I'm saying? Be working with them two cats, man. They're 12 standing producers, man, and yeah, it was a lot of fun too, man. We had a great time putting that song together.
And also as well, on March 13th of 2022, you actually released the amazing song titled Don't Go Baby. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story and inspiration behind this particular song. And of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy of it today?
Okay, first of all my music is on all digital download sites, you know, every last one of them. All you have to do is type in Mr. Cotton, Mister, and 1% Cotton. They just type that in and all my music come up. Now, Don't Go Baby, that's kind of crazy because I was actually doing that song for another artist named Henry Turner. Not Henry Turner, Henry Harden, I'm sorry. His name is Henry Harden. And I was doing that song for him, and I came up with the hook. So I'm saying I was going to do the hook for him, and then he was going to sing the verses. But as we started going into the song, he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he said, man, that sounds like a song for you. I said, you know what, you're right, too. It does sound like something for me. But I just went ahead and wrote it, you know, and sung it, and that's how that song came about. It was really for another artist, you know, in the beginning.
And also as well, I have to ask, what is next for yourself, Mr. Cotton? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's interview? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on 97.7 FM this evening.
Well, I mean, you know, it's going to be the same old thing, man. Just in the studio grinding and trying to, you know, put in the work and try to come up with these hits, man. Me and Adlib was always grinding in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time it was at my studio. He didn't have one, but now he has one. And, you know, it's working out even better like that because he can, you know, he can grind at his house. And when I need him to come get on the song, you know, if I ain't got to fight him, you know what I'm saying? He'll come through and drop it. He always come through for me, though. I got to say that. But, you know, y'all gonna hear some good things about him too in a minute, man. You know, some things will be coming from his way as well. But we just gonna keep grinding, man, and then that's what we look for the future, man. We just want to keep dropping hit after hit after hit. And I have my own label named Grind Time Entertainment. I'm looking for talent to sign. We're about to show a talent search September 30th in Lavensville, Louisiana, at the Bird's Nest. And we're looking for talent to sign up. And it's a talent search. It's not a talent show. Nobody's competing with each other. It's a talent search that we're looking for talent because, you know, everybody can actually be the winner.
And also, I got to ask, well, how can individuals actually contact your label? Because I do know that obviously you have your separate Instagram handles and separate social media handles for yourself as an artist, but what's the process for individuals submitting themselves to potentially be a part of your record label? Because I do know obviously contacting you as an artist versus contacting a record label is obviously a different process for both. So what is the process for these independent artists to submit themselves actually for review?
So they can submit all the material to my email. My email address is Grindtime Entertainment. I'm gonna spell it out kind of so they can understand. It's GRYNDTYME and the word entertainment at gmail.com. That's how they can submit the to me. If they need to get, you know, if they're trying to get at me, they get at me on my IG, Instagram, at cotton.donnell or donnell.cotton. You know, I got 2 pages on Facebook under Donnell Cotton. I'm on YouTube and Mr. Cotton, spell it with my STER, and I'm on also as 100% Cotton. Yeah, they can get in touch with me at my Gmail, Grind Time Entertainment. You spell it with Y's and not I's.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Mr. Cotton, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM radio station airways, man. It was such an honor and definitely a privilege to chop it up with a legendary hip-hop pioneer like yourself, man. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, man, thank you for just making amazing music and paving the way for every other Southern hip-hop artist in the entire hip-hop industry. So thank you so much for that, man.
Hey, man, my pleasure. Like I said, I didn't know I was doing that back then, but hey, you know, it is what it is, right? And I appreciate you for having me, man. I really do, man. And definitely going to hook that interview up with me and Bleed, man. We're going to get at you real soon.
Hey, definitely. Sounds like a plan, man. My DM's always open whenever you want to do it. I'm definitely down for it. I appreciate you, and again, thank you so much, man. I'm pretty sure we definitely shall chop it up soon.
Thank you, man.